Hi and welcome. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how we can secure our Azure Storage account with a built-in firewall, service endpoint, and private endpoint in a practical way. So without wasting any time, let's dive in. So as you can see in the picture, this is what we are going to start with. We are going to create these resources in Azure, and then we will discuss about what are the problems about this implementation. As you can see in the picture, we will have an storage account, which is a public service in Azure. We have also several public services in Azure, like Azure Cosmos DB, Azure SQL Database, and so on. Basically, this means that they are accessible from the public internet. So what does that mean? It means that if someone grabs the connection string of storage account in this case and sitting somewhere around the world and send a request with that connection string to storage account, he can do whatever he wants basically with the Azure Storage Account, and this is what we are going to avoid. So based on that, let's go to Azure and deploy what we see in the picture, and then we will continue. I'm logged in Azure. We create our resource group first with the name of RG demo, West Europe, review and create. Next, we will create our storage account from the menu, storage account. Create. We will create the storage account in the RG demo resource group. We will have a name, str images, for example, if it is available. It will be storage blob gen 2, and with the redundancy for the demo purposes, we will go with the locally redundant storage, which is the cheapest option. And we hit the next button. We just keep everything as it is at the moment, and later on we will come back to the appropriate section for what we need to implement. This may take some time, so I will pause the recording, and after the deployment I will come back. So storage account is deployed, and I'm going to go to the resource. Inside the container section, we will create a new container. We call it images. Inside this container, I'm going to have, for testing purpose, 2 images. I'm going to add it like that, upload. There we go. Our images now are in the container. So the next step is to create a virtual network. From the menu, I will find the virtual network. We hit the create button inside the RG demo resource group. We call it VNet1 in the West Europe region. We hit the next button. Next, in the IP addresses, here virtual network create a subnet by default. So let's just change the name of it to SNet1. as we had it in the in the picture at the intro section. Then leave everything as it is and hit the save button. Now we can go on and create. So we create the virtual network because our Azure function needs to be integrated with this network. This may take some time, so I will pause the video and come back when it is done. Okay, the deployment is finished. I just double check it. If we go to the resource, we can see we have now here a subnet, SNet1, and everything is good. So the next step is to deploy an Azure function. From the menu, we choose Azure function, hit the create button. In this section for the hosting option, we go with the flex consumption because it has a virtual network integration enabled. So let's select that one. Here we choose our resource group. We change the region to West Europe. And we give it a name, web app 123. Might be available, yes. Runtime stack will be .NET. And we leave everything as it is. So we go to the next storage section. Here we go with a new storage account for the Azure Runtime environment. We don't want any OpenAI for our demo. At the moment, we keep everything as it is for the networking. So we click next. For our demo purpose, I will just switch off the app insight because we are not going to use that. Here we leave everything as it is, also authentication, tags, create. This may take some time, so I will pause the video and come back when it is done. So the deployment is finished. Let's go to the resource. And now I would like to enable the networking integration for the function app. So under the setting, we go to the networking. Here we click on the network integration. We add here our subscription virtual network will be VNet1 and the subnet is SNet1. Hit the connect button. So with that in place, we also deployed our Azure function to Azure and to our resource group. So let's go to our resource group and see what we deployed so far. So here we have our Azure function, which has this storage account and also the app service plan deployed with it. Also, we have our network and storage account. So let's open Visual Studio and create a function app. In this function app, we will have HTTP endpoint which gets the images from the storage account with their name. If you remember, we uploaded 2 images in our container, which is called images. And this is what we are going to do next. So with that, we can test our solution. I will open the Visual Studio now. We create a new project. We choose Azure Function Template. Next. Let's call it Web App. Click Next. It will be based on .NET 8 with a HTTP trigger. First, we need to install a NuGet package to be able to work with the blob storage account. So I will open the NuGet package manager. We search for Azure Storage Blobs and install. Next, we need to register the blob service client in the dependency injection, so then we are able to inject it to our function class. I already have the code for saving the time. Just copy paste it here. Next step is to create our HTTP endpoint. Here also I copy paste the function class. We go through the code and I will explain exactly what the code is doing. So here we injected the blob service client and we create a get endpoint for the function with the route images and image name. Basically, we can provide to download the image. Here we create a container client, then the blob client. We check if the image with the provided name exists or not. If not exist, then we create a not found response. If exists, we download the blob and then return it back. So now we can go for publishing the function to Azure. I already created a publish profile, but to show you how you can do that, I will create here a new profile so you can see the steps. Here we choose Azure. We want to deploy our code to Azure. We choose Azure function app. Here you need to log in with your credentials and then you will see your resource groups, and here under our RG demo we have now our Azure function listed. We just select it and finish. So the profile is created. Now we just need to hit the publish button to start the deployment. I will pause the video until the publish is finished. Publishing is done. Now let's go back to our Azure function and see how is the status. We have our function listed here, get image. We need to grab the URL so we are able to make a request from Postman. From this tab, get function URL, we can grab the master URL and use Postman to send the request. We need to provide here the name of our image. It was image 1.jpg. Before sending the request, we need to add a storage account connection string to our Azure function environment variable. So let's do that. From here, go to str images storage account. Under security and networking, we click on access keys. We copy the connection string. Here under the setting, environment variables, we add a new one. The name was blob connection string. Blob. Paste the connection and apply. So now we are ready to start sending the request and download the image. We were able to download image 1. Let's try image 2. Perfect, everything works. So let's go to Azure portal. Our storage account. Under security and networking, I click on networking menu. Under public network access, click manage. Here in this section, public network access scope, I will enable basically only my IP address to be able to contact or get access to our storage account, and everything else should be blocked. So here I will add my IP and just click save. What happens now is that if we go to our picture, here everything else, including resources inside Azure and outside of Azure, no one can access our storage account at the moment. Only I, if we consider this is me, and my IP address basically is allowed to contact storage account. So we can go and test our Postman again. We should get now some sort of error message that authorization failure. Now let's see how we can make the connection back with the help of Service Endpoint. But what is a Service Endpoint? Service Endpoint is a networking feature that creates a secure and optimized connection through the Azure backbone. So it uses a private IP to access the resources. And as we can see in the picture, we establish a service endpoint connection from our subnet to the storage account. And hopefully the connection should be back and working again. Let's head back to the portal and see how we can implement this. For that, we need to go to our virtual network, and under the settings, we hit Service Endpoint menu. Here we create one. In the services dropdown, we need to choose what kind of services we would like to access. In our case, we are going to access a storage account. And by the way, as you can see, Service Endpoint is available for all of these services. This means that what you learned today, you can apply it also to the other services as well. So we choose storage. And we choose our subnet. This may take some time. I will pause the recording and be back when the deployment is finished. The deployment is finished. Now let's go back to our storage account because we need to give access to this service endpoint. Here we are on the networking menu again. I click manage. Here in this section, we need to add our existing virtual network. Subscription is development, virtual network VNet1, and our subnet. We need to save it. So now our service endpoint connection is in place. And if we open the Postman, send a request, we should be able to see the picture again. And there we go. Now I try to remove the service endpoint because next we would like to try how we can achieve the same with the help of private endpoints. We just remove the networking connection from the storage account, and also here in our virtual network, I will delete the service endpoint here. With that in place, again, the connection should be broken. So we have the error back. I will go back to our drawing. Here in the private endpoint section, we want to discuss what is a private endpoint. So a private endpoint is a networking interface that uses a private IP address from your virtual network. This networking interface then connects you privately and securely to a service that is powered by Azure Private Link. By enabling a private endpoint, you are binding your service into your virtual network. It means that you can have a very secure access to your service. And there are a bunch of resources available in Azure that support private link. For example, Cosmos DB, SQL Server, and so on. So if you would like to know the list of them, you can easily Google it and find out. Let's go to Azure portal and see how we can implement this. I go to our virtual network. On the subnet page, I create a new subnet, SNET 2. Then we go to our storage account. I am under security and networking menu, and click here, private endpoints, create. Alongside, a network interface is also going to be created. Here we have to choose a blob. Our newly created subnet is already selected. Click next. Also click next here. And click create. I pause the video until the deployment is done. The deployment is over. I am on the resource group page, and as we can see, we have our private endpoint here. We have our network interface, and also we have our DNS, which basically DNS is linked now to our virtual network. If we can check it here in our virtual network page, on the DNS menu, we see the link is provided for us. With that in place, we should now be able to fire another request with Postman and hopefully download the image again. There we go. We could establish the connection back with the help of private endpoints. Now let's take a look at the comparison table between the two. Some of these features we already saw in the video. Some of them are some advanced networking features that really depends on your scenario, what you are going to implement. I would suggest to pause the video and go through this list carefully to find out what is the match and the best for you. One of the features that I would like to discuss here is the pricing, which is free for service endpoint, but for private endpoints, you will be charged per endpoint and data processing. Also, in the video, we saw that setting up the service endpoint is simpler than private endpoint because with the private endpoint, we will require more services and configuration to maintain. Okay, when to use service endpoint? When you need a simple, cost-effective solution. Public IP addresses are acceptable for your compliance requirements. You want to secure traffic at subnet level. You don't need on-premise access to your Azure services. Very important to pay attention. You are using supported services like Storage Account, Cosmos database, SQL Server, and so on. when to use private endpoints. You require complete network isolation with no public IP exposure. You need on-premise access via VPN express route. You need granular resource level security. Compliance mandates private connectivity. You need to access services from multiple VNets. You want to eliminate data exfiltration risks. Again, what we saw in the list really depends on your scenario. If you have a absolute security concern, then definitely go with a private endpoint. If you need a simple solution to implement, Service Endpoint is free of charge and easy to implement. So, I do hope that this tutorial gave you a clear understanding about the concept. If you have any questions or suggestions, don't hesitate to write it down on the comment section below. If this tutorial was helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for supporting me creating more tutorials. See you in the next one.